Alrighty then, it's time for a double dosage of Kane. Let's get these shows on the road. Which one? Yeah, the first game is a Shadow Kane, and the other one is Rhaast. But you can call it whatever you want. I like to call Blue Kane or Shadow Kane Anime Kane, and Rhaast, I just call him Rhaast. But a lot of people like to call him Slipknot Kane, but to each their own on that. So, look at both the composition in this game. In the next one, it will be a lot more different, and this is why I decided to go Shadow Kane in this game and Rhaast in the other. The first thing I tried to do is invade Zac, and he's not here. And so I just immediately started stealing his camp. It turns out he went against mid lane, and it didn't work out, though he did get a flash. But it also cost him his blue, so that's really good for me. I already now have obtained a lot of momentum against a Zac. It's a big deal, especially if you're going to go Anime Kane. You need to maintain a huge level of momentum. So if you ever fall behind as Blue Kane, you just kind of lose. Zac does get a kill against the Veigar. Well, Twisted Veigar gets the kill and Zac gets the assist. So it kind of resets it a little bit, but still. What really truly does reset it is that he found us down here in bottom lane, and through this whole mess, thankfully Bard doesn't die, but I do die, so that's bad. This basically puts Zac back in the map and undoes the damage I did to his jungle. So that's kind of iffy. Fortunately, though, they do kill they do get a kill against the enemy Jinx, so good for that. I didn't get to participate in that. But yeah, their composition is mostly squishy, or it's entirely squishy with some kind of annoyances with the Janna being able to reset any engages we have, and Tryndamere having his ultimate. So that made more sense for Shadow Kane in this game. Rhaast won't get the super anti-bruiserness, so even though I contribute crowd control, which would honestly be a good thing against his composition too, I should rather, just immediately blow somebody up. That probably do us a lot better. So that's why I went Shadow Kane. In this case right now, the Tryndamere is getting super aggressive against the Gangplank, so I just kind of, meander around until he finally, goes in for the kill. And look, I use my ultimate to try to counter, quote unquote, his ultimate, because I would, come out the second it ran out. But since I used my ultimate in that against Tryndamere, this gank against the Twisted Fate, which I didn't think would come out since Twisted Fates normally play safe, doesn't result in a kill. It does result in damage and a flash, but it could have killed him if I had used my ultimate. And that's bad because, to be fair, I didn't need to use my ultimate against a Tryndamere. I just should have not missed my abilities, but yeah. This Bard, too, by the way, is being a huge nuisance to the enemy team, and it's helping me out. He's roaming around. He's just, harassing people and he got himself a kill right there. And it's forcing the Zac to have to be on the lookout for him. So, at the most part, the enemy Zac has his hands full, and that's helping me a lot maintain my huge advantage from the early game. So, as you can see, both teams are rather even up until this point here, where I get a very easy kill on the Janna, and then we give chase against the Jinx, and thanks to having my ultimate back up, I get to, tower diver without taking any real damage and finishing her off. And then, I kind of tax my teammates. Zac catches me, but then I just flash and then blink over, meld through the walls. Anyways, another thing to talk about with Kane, is that he's getting some buffs soon. I know he's getting some changes to his ultimate and some other ability, but the big one is his passive. He's going to collect orbs almost twice as fast. And look, I love how much damage Twisted Fate gets dealt there. It's so brutal. But anyways, Kane is going to be able to collect orbs faster. Faster in the early game and way faster in the later stages of the game. Basically, they're trying to make it so he evolves at a specific time with very little effort. Or at least evolves at a time where it's like, at this point you should have evolved, kind of, like a hard stop to this whole shenanigans crap. So that's good. But would it actually make a difference is the main point, right? A lot of people are wondering. And I kind of have to say it's difficult to say, because to be fair, Kane can destroy people in either form. His two forms are rather strong with a lot of other weaknesses sewed into, but we'll get into that later. But the big issue is with Kane that even though he is collecting the orbs faster, he still has to do that stupid ass minigame where he has to collect them in the first place. So base Kane sucks. His evolve forms are great, and even if you make it faster, the fact that he still has to be a snowball champion and have a huge ass momentum lead is not a good thing, especially for junglers. Like, I've mentioned this before, that champions like, well, Kha'Zix is the best jungle assassin in the game. And I guess you can consider that a carry too. Because in most cases, or in most senses, oh, by the way, that's funny, where Zac delivered me to his Twisted Fate so I could kill him and then just turn around and kill the Zac too. Or at least, you know, melt through the wall and kill him. Kha'Zix has the tools to at least make up for a lot of shortcomings most jungle carries or assassins would have. And it's just generally good. Like, his numbers are just good and fair, and sometimes a little bit not fair, but then he gets nerfed. Kayn, on the other hand, relies on items rather than his base abilities. He needs items to do what he needs to do, and his approach is really bad, and he's almost unreliable, unlike Kha'Zix. So that really hurts him, and having to make him snowball in order to actually be able to fulfill his function is ridiculously bad. And again, competitive in both competitive and in solo queue, it can be a huge liability. In competitive, that's why he's not picked. That's why Kha'Zix routinely comes back over and over as being the de facto jungle assassin. But anyways, you can see this game is starting to go off the rails in my favor. At this point, I have 7 kills, and I can kill anybody on the enemy team, including the Zac, if I get on top of them. And this is the power, I guess, of blue Kayn over Rhaast, or Shadow Kayn over Rhaast, is that once you start snowballing as Shadow Kayn, you gotta just destroy everybody. There's almost nothing they can do. As long as you use your abilities properly, you'll pretty much mess anyone up. The worst that can happen is you initiate improperly, they see it coming, and you can't kill the person. They'll promptly kill you in return, probably. That's about it. Or I mean, that's not the only weaknesses, but that's kind of how his whole shenanigans work. And you know, against this composition, which is mostly smushies, I pretty much one combo them, and then just retreat, run around in a circle, and come back and kill another person. Here, the only real threat I have is probably Tryndamere, but even he can be outplayed. I know, the Bard ultimate, you know, technically froze him and delayed his ultimate, but I probably would have still killed him either way. You get what I mean. So yeah, at this point, all I gotta do, kill one person, run away, come back, kill another person, and then at that point, hopefully my teammates are already there, finishing off the rest of them. At this point, I can go dash around the map, farm camps after camps, waves after waves, and just have this huge lead that nobody can compare to. At this point too, also, my teammates are also super big and, you know, properly fed, or at least the some right people are fed. Gangplank doesn't have anything, but at this point, Gangplank's being taken for a ride. The Veigar at this point can one-shot anybody, so yeah, this game is a sort of done deal. The only thing they have to hope for now is if they all get some sort of stasis, and, you know, we fuck up, but no, they're done. On the other hand, in the same situation, Rhaast could do a lot of damage, but he doesn't have as clear-cut murderous intent anymore as he initially did. So, like, initially I remember giving a lot of shit to the blue Kayn, but now they buffed them some time ago, and playing them a lot more and practicing a lot more, I do give it the proper credit it deserves. But still though, most blue Kayn games go this way, in which you kind of just carry the lead and then just keep it and win. And if you were to ever actually lose that, or if you never actually had the lead, then you kind of lose really savagely. There's not much you can do. And I would have to say that's the biggest advantage Rhaast has over blue Kayn, in that Rhaast can actually swing things. Or, you know, swing things and actually have power in, I would call it static games, the ones that, you know, are rather even. In this game, again, I only was able to do these shenanigans because I had a disgusting lead. And if I became blue Kayn and I didn't have such a lead, I wouldn't be able to get away with half the shit I was pulling off. So, yeah, blue Kayn games just kind of are the same thing. You know, you get a lead, you win, and there's not much to it. At this point, now that I have Guardian Angel, the enemy team is just miserable. By the way, I love that. In every single case, using your ultimate to to infect your opponent and use them as a springboard has always been a fun thing. But yeah, the game is basically done. We're gonna get Baron. We're gonna get Baron, and just end it. The next game is Rhaast, and that one is a lot more colorful. So that's why I'm sort of just trying to breeze through this one at this point. I decided to combine both of them because both the games have issues, and in the case of the the Shadow Kane, it's really super stompish. Though again, like I said, every single Blue King game is just kind of like that. Gets super stompish, and there's not much to talk about past the mid game. But yeah, we get to, just annihilated them, got the Nexus, and that was pretty much it. And it all kind of happened because I snowballed after the double kill. But now on to Rhaast, the one I am pretty sure most people wanted to see because I haven't uploaded a Rhaast one in a while. Same thing, look at compositions. The enemy team composition in comparison to the last one is a lot heavier. Hecarim and Trundle, and Anivia sometimes gets a little tankier, enough that you can't immediately blow her up. But I do the same thing regardless. I immediately invade, I do catch Hecarim, and I do quite a bit of damage to him. Not enough to kill him because he uses Smite on his own red, but doing that allows me to steal his red and then steal his Krugs. So once again, I have a huge upswing against the enemy jungler. And then he decides to try to gank top or do something here, and he gets really messed up to the point where he has to go home again. He also bought what, I'm forgetting momentarily what it's called. I'm gonna call it, I think, a rejuvenation potion, whatever. He bought the upgraded potion, and that's kind of already setting himself behind too, because now he's got gold deficiencies in comparison to me. So yeah, so far so good for me. The enemy jungler is behind, and I have a massive advantage to the point where I'm going to get my ultimate a lot sooner. I know where he was, and then he was going to be around wolves, and I figured I could gank Veigar before he shows up. But it's taking quite a while, and my teammates are scaring the enemy. So at one point or another, I just decided, fuck it, I'm going to go in, get the Veigar, and try to run out. But like I thought, Hecarim catches me and kills me, and that helps him quite a bit. At least resets a little bit of the damage I did in the beginning of the game. So yeah. So look, Rhaast, again, stronger against bruisery type of champions, though Blue Kane, if I decided to go Blue Kane in this game, I could probably wipe out the Tristana early on or the Veigar, with all of the Veigar support, and then, you know, call it a day. But my team needed another bruisery champion because we don't have a true tank. I mean, Sion, again, is just a really strong bruiser, but a lot of people try to think of him as a pure tank. He's just a strong bruiser. But two bruisers in a team with quasi-semi-initiation CC, or AoE CC, is a pretty good idea. But anyways, Hecarim comes gank Sion, and I come in for the counter gank. This would have actually worked out pretty well. I used my ultimate to dodge the Hecarim ultimate and get on the Trundle, but Sion gives up, or at least backs away too much, and I take way too much damage from Trundle and get killed. I mean, and then Xerath comes in, misses his ultimate, and Sion walks away with a little bit of health. Xerath comes in to kill the Hecarim, and then kind of just died for it. Sion comes in to try to save him, and unfortunately that's going to cost him his life too. That whole thing was a huge mess, and I figured it was just Sion not really understanding that we were still in this fight. If he had helped me out initially, maybe finish off the Trundle faster, I might have survived. A good chance I would have still died, but he would have gotten the kill, and he would have been a lot healthier. Xerath was coming, and I figured he was going to help us out. Either way, I know they're probably doing, at this point I knew they were doing Dragon, but I was hesitant to completely, you know, help out the team. But they were pinging, and they were actually talking in chat saying, you know, come do Dragon. I go in there. Here's where just base Kane is kind of shitty. I do get the choice kill against the Tristana, but I promptly die as a result. Thankfully, I'm getting more Rhaast points, because the other big weakness of Kane that there's not seemingly addressing with these buffs and changes is that if you get the wrong transformation, by the way, I don't know what the fuck Nami was trying to do. If you get the wrong transformation that you wanted, you have to wait a while before you get to choose the one you actually wanted, and that sucks. It's like, it doesn't matter how many orbs you collect now, you're just going to be stuck in that form, or at least that decision for a little while. But like I said, thankfully I got Rhaast, and I'm able to start pulling off some shenanigans, though unfortunately I do suck with my W in a lot of cases here. Also, the Hecarim learned a great deal right there. Don't fight the Rhaast if you're a bruiser. You know, eventually he'll win out. I mean, if he was a lot bigger, I would be a lot more afraid, but you get what I mean, right? He is pretty big. By the way, Steel is red, so we come find a Trundle. Sion gets a really good ult on him, and then we just sort of are forced to tower dive him, and it goes a lot cleaner than, you know, it could have been. But anyways, Hecarim comes in, he gets knocked up, he gets absolutely blasted, and then he uses ultimate to escape. That's a good boon for us. So hooray for us. Right now you can see the power of having a Scion and a Rhaast, who kind of do the same thing with their W and Q, is pretty good. I know I should have at this point been sharing the blues with the what's his name, Xerath, but it was taking quite a while. Tristana comes top lane for some reason and immediately gets killed, and then I throw my life away trying to get my ultimate off on the Veigar before I got killed. So sad for me. And then the rest of us the rest of my teammates sort of meandered around, get caught and get killed. So we are pretty much screwed up there, and at least allow the enemy team to bounce back. So yay. So right now the game is in a state of throwing and counter throwing. But when it comes to late game, my team has the potential to kind of kill them all in a really swift go. So if we do it right, we'll be able to destroy the Tristana and then wipe out the rest of their team, or we destroy them all at the same time. However, their team composition allows them to initiate on us under really good, in a really good spot and annihilate us. Their composition is overall better. By the way, that W I just did was embarrassing. Here, Hecarim uses ultimate, but I time mine ultimate properly to catch him and finish him off. It was pretty clean, you gotta admit. The rest of the enemy team is without any actual front line, so they get torn to shreds. Tristana, though, pulls off a pretty good flash and manages to kill my Xerath teammate, though then she runs into the Scion, not paying attention to the map, and dies promptly. So hooray for that, too. 14 and 15, like I said, it's a lot more even than the Shadow Kayn one went, right? Because both compositions are really strong, and both compositions can do a lot of plays to pretty much take out anyone important on both teams. And in a situation like this, I would have figured that Shadow Kayn would do far worse than Rhaast. So Rhaast is just a straight out better choice, not only for the fact that, you know, they have more bruiser champions, but because both compositions are rather even in what they can do. And Rhaast is the only one who can sort of upset the balance or deal with that balance. So yeah. You saw my teammate Xerath got picked off. Here, I was having my doubts of actually fighting. But again, my team is super split up here, so we're not really all that effective. But we still want to go for fights because they are kind of a little bit out of feel in this case. Veigar gets picked off. We try to CC down the enemy Trundle, but he flashes over the wall. In comes Hecarim just beaming through. But our CC and our damage is going to eventually brings him down. But we waste a lot of our resources doing so. And the Tristana's just getting free damage onto us. So she brings my ass down and she starts, you know, rocket jumping everywhere. And with that, the fight, you know, is still going because Rhaast shows up. Nami goes in your Q, but it misses. Xerath misses all of his ultimate, misses his ultimate completely again. And then my teammates, as you saw, got walled off. So we couldn't really chase. Still, that whole fight ended up being kind of pointless. As nothing really amounted to much. We all kind of came out the same as before. I used my ultimate to try to kill the Veigar, but he survives, and then I get CC locked, and the Veigar does end up getting killed, I believe, but it cost me my life, and that's not really worth it. So yeah, these fights are just really, really shoddy for my team, and kind of for the enemy team too, since they're not getting a considerate lead enough to start taking objectives or do much of anything. So we're all just coming to mid lane, to the blender, just to constantly die right now. The enemy team finally does get the upper hand though, and are able to take the mid tower, but you can see that whole thing was just a huge mess. And again, if I was Shadow Kayn, I don't think I would have been able to pull off some of the shenanigans I was doing, even though those shenanigans weren't the best either. You get what I mean, right? I would have survived even less of a chance. So, yay. My build, too, is rather haphazard, I have to admit. Like, Spirit Visage was definitely needed, though Black Cleaver, I could have probably done without it and gotten something else. Maybe even Duskblade, just to give myself at least some more damage. But I went with Black Cleaver, and obviously Warrior, and I felt I wasn't doing as much as I could have. Though if I do grab squishies like I did the Tristana, I could bring her down, and if I, you know, aim my W better, and I would have been able to do, you know, more damage. But thankfully at this point my team gets the upper hand because the enemy team had put themselves in a really awkward position, and we just sweep through them. So yay, we got a tower and an inhibitor, and we started to gain map control now, or at least, you know, somewhat now that wars are gone. And once again, I steal Hecarim's red because it's just there. Here, the enemy team makes a kind of a gung-ho initiation. Trundle just sort of runs in, and Hecarim splits it from the team. But that allows me to, attack Tristana from the side and do a crap ton of damage to her. I probably would have killed her myself, but whatever. She died by Scion. It's fine enough. So the enemy team is having the huge issue right now of their front line ignoring the rest of their team. And as a result, we're just having, easy pickings of their squishies, which is the people they need to be relying on the most. So yeah, here I get, nuked down by the towers and the Vhagar, so that's kind of sad for me. But at this point, the enemy team has lost complete control. The Hecarim and the Trundle were not doing what they should have been, and even though in this case right here the enemy base are starting to sort of, force us out, at this point it's a little bit of a done deal. Tristana doesn't have a gross enough advantage to, just kind of annihilate my team, and the rest of us can just pick her off at this point, or I can pick her off. Also, Scion survives, and that was kind of funny. So yeah, at this point, the enemy team still has the potential to obviously win. Their composition is strong. But at this point, my team definitely has just the power, the advantage in power. Here, by the way, I go through the walls to try to kill the Vhagar off before he gets to do very much of anything. And I get caught by everyone because the Vhagar wall split it up. However, thanks to my ridiculous life gain, I don't immediately die. And in fact, they get stuck in a corridor thanks to the Nami ultimate. And they're choosing to fight in this position, which is super bad. I go in with my Q and then my knocked up gets 4 people. Even though I do die, the advantage that knock up and the amount of damage that they freely took for being in that corridor is enough to just get them absolutely wiped out. And with that, the victory is ours. Hooray! In fact, the minions kind of just were doing a shitload of damage without us. But hooray for Kayn. Hooray for you guys too. And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos because YouTube and stuff.